I've learned over the years to manage the stress and workload and working on a lot of different things. And actually, I think I kind of enjoy that. Every day is different, projects different. It keeps it exciting. Everybody kind of develops their own style over time, whether you like it or
Okay.
not. Sometimes that can be good, sometimes maybe not.
Joining me today is Bryan Middleton, and he is an audio visual specialist. So, Bryan, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, let's go ahead and get started. Bryan, can you explain what an audio visual specialist does?
Well, I work for Paulson, is a
Okay.
advertising marketing agency. Um, Audiovisual specialist is probably a term that could also be replaced by video director, video
Okay.
producer, videographer. I do all of the above. So I go on shoots, I direct shoots, I edit video, television commercials,
Okay.
web videos, that sort of thing. And then we also, I do radio spots, podcasts. So anything that needs video or audio production, I have my hands on here.
Okay. Amazing. And what made you want to get into this career path, and how did you get your start in?
What made me want to get into it? So when I was growing up, I wanted to be a film director.
Okay.
I loved movies. I still love movies. I wanted to direct films. Being from South Dakota, the middle of the U.S., there's film school wasn't really an option. Um,
Okay.
let's see, in high school, I also was really big into skateboarding. And
Okay.
this was before everybody had cameras on their phone. This is before cell phones even. And I was
Wow.
always taking my dad's video camera and making skate videos with my friends. So believe
Ooh.
it or not, when I went to college, I kind of took that making skate videos to the next level. And I worked at some news stations. And I got an intern with South Dakota Public Broadcasting. And that's where I kind
Mhm.
of learned storytelling and video production and that sort of thing. And it just went on from there. I worked for public television for 6 years, telling stories about interesting people and places all around South
Mhm.
Dakota. And then I transitioned to marketing, and I've been working in marketing for probably 18 years now, I think.
Wow. Wow. Okay. And what parts of your job are the most exciting or the most interesting to you?
Like I said, with the job at public television, advertising also allows me to meet a lot of different interesting people
Hmm.
all over the country that work in different industries and do different things. And I get to tell their stories.
Right.
I'm a big learner, I'm a lifelong learner. So just learning about all sorts of different things interests me, and being able to tell those stories through video and audio is always interesting to me. Um, yeah, I get to travel, which is fun. I get
Mhm.
to see different parts of the country and
Yeah.
meet those interesting people. So, yeah.
Okay. And on the flip side, is there anything that's harder, emotionally challenging, or maybe not so fun?
Marketing itself can be stressful.
Okay.
I mean, there's always deadlines. You're
Hmm.
juggling a lot of projects at once. And all clients, they don't care about your other clients. They, they want their stuff and they want it at a certain time. And so that can be stressful. I've learned over the years to manage the stress and workload and working on a lot of different things. And actually, I think I kind of enjoy that. Every day is different. Every
Hmm.
project's different. It keeps it exciting.
Yeah.
Um, that's probably another thing I like about my job, is that every day is kind of different. So
Hmm. Okay. And what do you think that people might underestimate or overestimate about your job?
I think the biggest thing is probably people underestimate um, how much time and planning and even money goes into making really good creative, really good
Mm.
advertising, especially video production. I've made hundreds of television spots, and a lot of times people will remark, whether it's the client or or, somebody else on set, wow, I didn't know it took this much time
Mm,
and effort and attention to detail. And I
yeah.
said, well, that's because you're used to seeing it all the time, every day. You don't really stop to think about how much work goes into, all those little details. So,
Hmm. Okay, and you're in the marketing area, and then you used to do broadcasting, but
mhm.
what are some other areas that you can go into as an audiovisual specialist or when you have a background in video production?
Yeah, so I worked for government, South Dakota Public
Okay,
Television. So I covered a lot of lawmaking. I
okay,
also did a lot of live television. So I did live
mm,
sports. I still do some live sports on the side just for fun as freelance.
okay,
So you could do, live broadcasting, which is always fun. You could do the news, advertising, marketing, like I'm in. There's educational jobs you could get,
right,
especially nowadays. Everybody's using video a lot more than they used to with the rise of YouTube and social media.
right,
So even a lot of bigger companies have their own either marketing team or just
hmm,
their devoted video person. Yeah, so
okay,
you could do podcasts, you could do radio broadcasting, you could even specialize in real estate photography, video, drone.
wow,
The
yeah,
drone, I also do drone. I'm also a licensed drone operator. So even just within drone, you could have a lot of careers, real estate,
wow,
agriculture,
yeah,
um, you know, so.
wow, cool. And so now, what are some of those bigger companies or employers of this role or of this job?
Um, so a lot of the healthcare companies,
Okay,
um, even banking, a lot of banking companies I know have their own internal marketing teams.
hmm,
Um, some of the companies that we work for have their own internal teams, but then they also use us for some of those
okay,
more targeted ads or more specialized, higher quality ads.
okay,
So we work in the ag industry primarily. Well, not
okay.
primarily, but we do a lot of stuff in the ag industry. So um, tractor companies, industrial companies.
Mm,
We work with some of the universities in the region. A lot of those places have their own in-house
mm,
video person, audio person, because they're constantly looking for assets and they have to update them every year.
yeah. Okay. So according to Google, the average salary for an audiovisual specialist in the US is around 66, $68,000. From your experience, do you think that that's accurate? What do you think about that number?
Yeah, and it's definitely going to depend on
Mm,
how broad um, knowledge base you have, and of
okay.
course how many years you've been doing it.
Yeah,
Uh,
of course.
I wouldn't expect to start off right at
Okay.
that number, but I think it's definitely, probably something that's about average.
Okay.
For instance, for me, I've been doing it for 20 years, so I've gained a lot of knowledge and
Hmm.
experience over those years from a lot of other people. So I can do a lot of things. But when I started, I wasn't, I was just
Mm,
shooting and editing videos. I wasn't directing television spots or producing television spots, working on giant ad campaigns. So
hmm.
I'd say it's just like any other job.
Right.
You got to start somewhere and work your way
And
up.
build up. Yeah,
Yep.
of course. Okay, so what are some current trends or challenges in this industry, and how do you see it changing in the next 5 to 10 years?
When I started marketing, I was doing a lot of television spots.
Okay,
With the rise of social media, YouTube,
okay,
Facebook, that sort of thing. The broadcast television thing, we spent less time on that and more time on capturing video, not only to make a television spot, but what
hmm,
can we do with that video after the fact? How can we get more life out of that video? And
right,
and that's recutting it for web uses. It's recutting for YouTube videos. And now a lot, with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, we're looking at a lot of uh,
hmm,
shorter uses,
right,
and different target audiences. So
of
I'd say
course.
social media, definitely is a trend. Well, it's not a trend. I mean, it's here. But
Yeah.
um, as far as future trends, I don't. Yeah, no, it's a good question. Let's think about that one.
Okay. Okay. And how do you see that you stay updated with the latest developments or the latest advancements in video production?
So yeah, that's a good question. Stuff changes pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I learn from my other coworkers, younger people that
Yeah.
start. I always look to them for a fresh perspective on how to do things, and at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, try to teach them tried and true methods. It's really all about collaboration with coworkers and
Right.
other industry people. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
connect with other people that do my same type of work
Yeah.
in different parts of the country. And I see stuff on Instagram and TikTok that
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued by, and then I research it and study it. Uh, Occasional tutorials, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
really just about just just doing it every day and just
Mm-hmm.
teaching yourself and having fun with it.
Yeah. And you mentioned a little bit earlier that none of your days are the same, but could you give us maybe like a brief outline of what a day would look like and what your schedule looks like?
Yeah, so I will try to give you like a week snapshot, and of
Okay,
course
perfect.
it's different during different times of the year. My summers are a little bit busier with being out on shoots, um,
Okay.
just because the weather's nicer and everything looks nicer outside. And,
Hmm.
I do work in the rural ag industry, but so a typical day, I might have a couple creative meetings on different
Okay.
client update meetings. I could be editing some digital videos. I could be making a radio spot. Um, this week, I'm actually flying to Texas to do a video shoot tomorrow.
Okay.
So that'll take up, a couple days. We'll be on site
Okay.
interviewing someone and getting some B-roll.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then come back and edit the video together. And so yeah, this is good
Okay.
variety. Keeps it interesting.
Okay. Yeah. And are you able to work flexible hours at all? Is it a set 9 to 5? What does that aspect look like?
Um, it's a little flexible. I have a pretty good work-life balance.
Okay.
It's usually like an 8 to 5 thing,
Hmm.
depending
Okay.
on my shoot schedule. Like tomorrow, I'll be up early and on a plane and
Hmm.
get in late. But yeah, for the most part, it's an 8 to 5 thing. And sometimes we get up early to get better light with video shoots or stay out later. But most companies, I feel like in this day and age, are pretty flexible with family stuff and
Yeah.
realizing that if I'm out working until 10 p.m. some night for a shoot, then maybe I'll just not come in right away
Mm.
the next day. So
Yeah. Okay. And so when you're not at a shoot, are you required to go to an office or do you work from home?
I work primarily in an office,
Okay.
as do most of the people here. We have a
Okay.
couple full-time remoters that live a
Okay.
little bit farther away, so
Mm.
it's not economical or feasible for them to come
Yeah.
in. And we have a few people that live an hour away, and they spend a couple of days in the office every week, and then a couple of days at
Okay.
home. So it's kind of a
Okay.
hybrid model. Um,
Okay.
Me doing what I do, it's kind of hard for me to work remotely because I have a
Mm.
lot of equipment. I have
Okay.
a computer with a lot of storage. So
Mm.
I still do work remote, a couple days out of the month if I have something going on or if I have a sick kid at home.
Hmm.
But yeah, primarily I'm here or on the
Okay.
road.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. And so are there certain degrees or certifications that are required to get a job like yours?
There isn't really. I'd say, I
Okay.
mean, you could just have kind of passion for video production anymore and be self-taught, and your work would speak for itself.
Hmm.
Um, that said, I mean, there's always film school if you want to do more of the fine arts type thing, or
Okay.
most colleges have a video production, audio production, or journalism program that you could go
Mm.
through. That's kind of the route I took because I wasn't
Okay.
exactly sure what I wanted to do or how I
Mm.
wanted to use the degree. Um, yeah, but as far as marketing, there's a lot of different
Yeah.
jobs, writing,
Yeah.
shooting, producing. So
Okay, amazing. And what natural strengths or talents do you think would make someone good at your job?
I think communication's probably a good one.
Okay.
I think that's probably good for just about any job where you're working with a lot of people. Um, Resilience, being able to take constructive criticism
Hmm.
because yeah, in this field, everybody's going to have a kind of an opinion, and
Right.
you got to learn to know, okay, well, that maybe not exactly how I saw it, but
Hmm.
you know, working with a team, collaborating, all those are good strengths.
Okay. And as a audiovisual specialist, what do you end up thinking about all
I end up thinking about all day. usually,
day?
usually all the stuff that I have to do at work and outside of work. I just like to listen to a lot of music while I work. If
Hmm.
just like to have a good time at work.
Okay.
Um, Work with a good crew where we like to have fun,
Yeah.
create crazy ideas and see what we can get away with. And you usually have to bring it back down to earth, but uh,
Right.
yeah, I work with a creative team, so everybody's pretty fun to work with.
Okay. And what are some topics that you think someone would have to be interested in to enjoy a career like this?
Um, Art, definitely a big
Okay.
one. You're going to be working with graphic designers. You're going to be working with, sound designers,
Hmm.
a lot of visual people. So I mean, art background. I don't have an art background per se. I mean, I was always interested in it. I took photography
Okay.
classes and art classes, but I wasn't. I wouldn't say a natural artist, but I mean that's a big strength. Yeah, just curiosity, seeing
Mm.
what you can do, trial and error,
Yeah.
seeing what you can. It's kind of like play sometimes, even though it can
Mm.
get stressful and it's work. It still is kind of like play, which I kind of like.
Okay. Okay. And what are some tools, technologies, programs, or softwares that you use a lot as part of your job?
So I use the Adobe software suite every day, Photoshop,
Okay.
Illustrator, Premiere Pro, Adobe Audition, those sorts of things. That's definitely a good one. And there's other versions and companies that do the same thing. I used to use Final Cut Pro. I've done some stuff with DaVinci. So there's a lot of different programs that do the same thing, but yeah, a lot of
Okay.
video production programs, audio editing programs.
Okay. And now, from the moment that you get assigned a project to the moment that it's complete, what are some key steps that occur?
So if we were to be doing, let's say if we're doing a full campaign,
Okay.
there's usually, for me anyway, there's usually a kickoff meeting with
Hmm.
the team that's going to be working on it. So you'll have your writer, your graphic designer, your creative director, your accounts person that's um,
Okay.
talking with the client. Do a kickoff. So there might be some strategy involved. So we could be working with our research person. What's the message that the client wants us to get across?
Mm.
What what are our methodologies for this campaign? Usually from there, we decide what we want to do. Then we take it back to the creative team, figure out a fun and creative way to do it, to show it.
Yeah.
Um, then sometimes, depending on the size of the project, we might present two or three different ideas to the client,
Okay.
get their
Okay.
feedback, and then go back and refine it some more. And then once we get to kind of a stage where we know we're going to move forward, then we'll put it
Hmm.
in production. You have to plan the shooting or creative that needs to happen, and then we'll go into production. From there, we'll bring it back, take it into post production, which would be
Okay.
editing and sound design and that sort of thing. And then we present it to the client, get their feedback. Oftentimes
Hmm.
there's a few rounds of feedback, and then we set it out there, and then we follow up on it after that fact.
Okay.
We'll see how it's performing, see what needs to
Yeah.
be changed to make sure everything is going how we wanted it to.
Okay. Amazing. And up next, we want to give our listeners a little bit of advice. So, what do you recommend that candidates that are interested in a job like this do to set themselves apart from other candidates?
I feel like everybody kind of develops their own style over time, whether you like it or
Okay.
not. Sometimes that can be good, sometimes maybe not. I think it's probably good to yes, develop your own style, but, and this might sound counterintuitive, but be diversified in what you can do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really good at telling stories and interviewing people and that testimonial type thing.
Right.
And I think that probably sets me apart from a few other people, but I also don't want to just totally pigeonhole myself into just knowing
Hmm.
that. So I try to stay fresh on maybe not 3D animation, but stay up with some type of animation stuff, or
Right.
stay up to date with, audio production. So staying diverse, but at the same time, kind of knowing who you are, staying true
Yeah.
to yourself.
Okay. And if someone wants to make a pivot in their career from a different one into this, what is the fastest way that they can get their foot in the door?
Reach out to different companies that interest you.
Mm.
Um, See if you can tag along on some projects. Um, See if you're actually interested in it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, internships. Um, yeah, or volunteer with the company that you're at to say, I think we could use some more video on our webpage,
Mm.
or I think we could maybe do this different. Try,
Right.
instead of just trying to transition to to this this career, maybe try it where you're at and see
Yeah.
if you're truly passionate about it.
Okay. And what are some books or resources that you recommend our listeners look into if they're interested in pursuing a career like this?
I would say I don't read a lot of books on my job particularly.
Okay.
Um, I do read, self-help books on collaboration or management, habits, that sort
Hmm.
of thing. So, just positive outlook type stuff. I read that type of
Right.
stuff. But as far as the job itself, I mean, I get a lot of inspiration and knowledge from Instagram and LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Like I said earlier, connecting with people in the same field. I see what they're
Yeah.
doing. We bounce ideas off each other. So yeah, I would look, you know, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, that sort of thing.
Okay. Amazing. And finally, if you could talk to your younger self when you were just starting off in your career, what advice would you give him?
Uh, just go for it. Um,
Okay.
yeah, just go for just if you want to work at a certain company, reach out. What's the worst that can happen? Let's say no,
Yeah.
no thanks. I got a lot of jobs by just stopping into places. I mean, that's how I got my internship with South Dakota Public Broadcasting. I was just walking by one
Mm.
day. I stopped in and I said, "Hey, do you guys happen to need an intern?" You know,
Wow.
I and they happened. It worked out.
Hmm.
Um, the following job after that, they needed they just had one job that they didn't have enough people for, so I volunteered to edit like in my off hours. And then
Okay.
once I showed them what I could do, then ta-da, they offered me a full-time job.
Hmm.
And that's kind of
Wow.
how I got, my latest job too. They reached out to me and said, well, we kind of need somebody, and you know, your work looks kind of cool. Are you interested in at least, coming to talk to us? And I wasn't even
Yeah.
really looking for a job at the time, but I said,
Wow.
well, yeah, what can it hurt? I went and talked to them, and everything meshed,
Hmm.
worked out. It's not always going to work out, but yeah, I'd say just go for it.
Yeah. You never know until you try.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bryan, thank you again for joining me on today's episode and for sharing all of your experience with us.
No, thank you very much for having me.
You just got one episode closer to learning about the world of jobs out there. To explore the rest of our career categories and find your best fit, go to jobdictionary.com to sign up for the beta users waitlist. Then subscribe here to find the next episodes coming out this week. And as always, drop us a comment, review, or message to let us know how we can better attune our episodes to your specific needs. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Threads, Pinterest, and wherever else you're on socials to go get our short, snappy preview reels that expose you to new job options every day. Because here at Job Dictionary, we believe your big aha moment can be just one scroll away. Go check it out and get out there. Cheers!